the Meirionnydd Oakwoods was conceived, I guess probably about 10 years ago, and it was when the acidic upland oakwood habitat became a European habitat, which means that we've got more of it in this country than anywhere else in Europe. That's in terms of the. So the woods are very much interconnected. From the Vale of Festiniog, you can go, if you're a squirrel, all the way to Bethgelert and then on to Nant Gwynant without touching the ground, more or less. And you can also go all the way to Dolgellau, and then from Dolgellau to either side of the Mounthac estuary. It's all very nice woodland there. And there's a connection back from Dolgellau. So gorge walking is an adventure sport. It's run by both outdoor pursuit centres and by commercial companies, and basically people get dressed up in a wetsuit and a helmet, come down into a place where they can access the river, usually jumping off a ledge into a deep pool, and then they progress either up or down the gorge, depending on which one it is, climbing waterfalls or sliding down. So this is all very well, but the main interest of this particular bit of the Meirionnydd Oakwoods ecosystem is that it's very humid, and it's basically our temperate rainforest. It rains a lot. It's a very good habitat for mosses and liverworts, and they grow all over the rocks. And you can see on the waterfall there's quite a lot of bare rock areas, and also this rock behind me, these two boulders with plenty of olive green on them. That is one of the rarest mosses in Britain. It only occurs in 4 sites in Meirionnydd, and that's it for the whole of the UK, and obviously very vulnerable to being rubbed off by water. So obviously this is an activity that's quite difficult to manage for, at least physically on the site. But with this particular rare plant colony, I've diverted the path, because the path used to come down between the 2 rocks here, and we've put up a bit of chestnut paling just to deflect people away. Well, 7 years ago, this area was a dense stand of 30-year-old Sitka spruce with nothing underneath, completely bare ground. We had the Sitka spruce harvested and removed from the site, and we've done nothing really other than that. There was lots of exposed mineral soil, and the result was that the forest has re-established itself in the form of obviously young birch at the moment, with quite a bit of willow in it. There is some oak in it, but in the long term this will become upland sessile oakwood again. And here we have the spectacular waterfall of the Rhyadr V, or the Black Waterfall, which is the bottom end of that 190-foot waterfall. Just goes a long way down a rocky chute and comes over an edge, generating a lot of humidity. And in fact there's an awful lot of humidity-loving species, some of which are very, very rare in this area. What the gorge walkers tend to do is to set up a zip wire from a tree at the top of the waterfall there, and either come down it into the pool, following the wire down on pulleys, or else they abseil down. You can actually see the bare patch of rock where caused by the abseiling and the vegetation. The woods used to be owned and managed by the local estate. All the woods here were estate woodlands, and they very much saw that as an important resource, in fact an important resource for the whole local economy. They got a lot of wood for building the houses in the area. A lot of them have got oak timbers within them, and also used for shipbuilding, tan bark, firewood, tool handles, you name it. They used to produce it here. But in the last 50 or 60 years the woodlands have fallen out of economic use, been left to grow on, and now they're mainly used for people, for recreation, for coming out here and charging your batteries. Right, well we're in Coed Mawr, which is a small part of Coed Manturog National Nature Reserve, and this is an area that we've set it up for the public to come and visit. It's got a path all the way around it. It goes up a deep ravine and back down the other side of it effectively. And we used to have a nature trail leaflet to give people a guided tour of the wildlife that was here, which I must admit I found rather boring and unstimulating. So CCW commissioned some sculptures to put here, just to make it a little bit more inspiring and a bit more interactive for especially for children. And obviously the otter is one of the carvings. And this sculpture here is made from a piece of that fell off a big tree probably about 30 years ago. It's been a piece of dead wood here ever since I've been here. And many people think that it's been carved into the shape of a dragon's tail, but actually it's a species of leafy liverwort, which would normally in its real life size be about an inch long, and it just shows the detail on the liverwort. And this sculpture, the circle of trumpets, I think most people are probably mystified by, but it's actually meant to represent a cladonium lichen. And a lot of people will be familiar with the one that grows on walls that produces little red tips on the top of sticks which look like matchsticks. Well, this one is closely related but produces trumpets instead of matchsticks. Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed this very brief tour of the Meirionnydd Oakwoods. The question is whether it's worth doing more projects like this, and well, actually this is a project that's ongoing. CCW is managing its national nature reserves in this area, and you can't stop managing. You have to respond to various things. Just for example, if we hadn't cleared all the rhododendron in some of these woodlands, you wouldn't actually be able to get into them. Access would be impossible. Similarly, if we weren't controlling the way people do gorge walking in Cainant Llenach, where they're hopefully doing the minimum of damage, if we stopped it there straight away, then the gorge walking activity would continue in an uncontrolled manner in all the other gorges in the area. So it has a knock-on effect. If we're successful in Cainant Llenach, then we're preserving the other gorges from that activity.